Welcome, dear listener, and welcome to Soporific. This is your gentle corner of history, told slowly, patiently, and with kindness. Here, nothing is urgent, nothing is rushed. Every word is spoken to ease your thoughts and carry you slowly toward rest. If you have come here to sleep, you are in the right place. Allow yourself to grow heavy, allow your body to soften, and let the story flow through you like a calm river. Tonight, I will take you far away into the winters of medieval Europe, a time and place where winter was not just a season, but a trial, not simply an inconvenience, but a matter of survival. Before we begin, I will gently remind you that if these stories bring you peace, you may subscribe. Not urgently, not as a demand, only as a soft invitation. And now, let us step together into the long night of history. The last days of autumn are slipping away. The harvest is done. The grain has been cut and stored. The last apples, wrinkled and pale, have been gathered into baskets. The air is already sharp with frost. The fields lie bare and lifeless, stubble of wheat stalks stiff and frozen beneath a gray sky. A thin skin of ice forms on the water troughs each morning, broken by hand, only to reform the next night. The days shorten, the nights grow longer, and with each sunrise the people know that the deep cold is drawing closer. You walk across the frozen ground. Each step crunches softly, the sound swallowed by the wide, empty silence of the countryside. Your breath hangs in the air, drifting upward like smoke. A crow calls once in the distance and then is gone, leaving the world hushed and still. You can smell wood smoke carried from cottages, faint, thin, but comforting. The smell is not simply homely, it is survival. For without wood, there is no fire, and without fire, there is no life in winter. Step inside one of these homes, a peasant's cottage, small, cramped, yet full of life. The walls are patched with mud and straw, cracked here and there. The roof is low, thatched with reeds. The floor is bare earth, hard and uneven beneath tired feet. A single room holds everything: the family's bed of straw, their cooking pots, their tools, and above all, the hearth. The fire glows faintly in the center, smoke curling into the dim rafters, seeping out through a hole in the roof. It gives light, flickering gently across tired faces, but it gives little warmth. The family gathers close. A father, already weathered and thin, his hands cracked from field work. A mother, quiet, her shoulders wrapped in rough wool. Children, 2 or 3 perhaps, eyes heavy with sleep, their hair tangled from the cold night. They lie together on straw mattresses, wrapped in blankets that scratch against the skin, rough and heavy. Their breath lingers in the air, a mist that hovers even inside, showing just how bitter the cold has grown. Morning comes slowly in winter. The fire has nearly burned itself out during the long night. Only faint embers glow, waiting to be coaxed back into flame. The father stirs first, rising stiffly, joints aching, his body heavy from the cold. He pushes open the door and steps into the crisp air outside. The frost bites at his cheeks, sharp and immediate. He gathers wood, carrying small bundles back to feed the hearth. Each piece of wood is precious, each log carefully rationed, for too much today may mean nothing tomorrow. Inside, the mother tends to the children. She stirs a pot of thin porridge, the grains stretched with water. The smell is faint, plain, nothing to excite the appetite, but it is food, and food is survival. The children eat silently, dipping wooden spoons into the bowl, each bite smaller than they wish, each mouthful carefully measured. The parents eat last, scraping what is left, satisfied not in fullness, but only in having something at all. Hunger is already here, not sharp yet, but present, a shadow waiting for the long months ahead. Outside, the work does not stop. The animals must be tended even in the cold. The oxen stamp their hooves in the barn, steam rising from their nostrils. The family's single cow stands shivering, her ribs faintly visible, her body thinner than it should be. Chickens huddle together, feathers puffed against the cold. The eldest son trudges to the well, the rope stiff with frost, the bucket heavy with a thin rim of ice along its edge. His hands are red, cracked and sore, but he carries the water carefully, his breath clouding before him with every step. This is winter life for the peasant family. Not days of abundance, not nights of feasting, but days of rationing, of counting every crumb, every scrap. The salted pork hangs above the hearth, small, precious. The sacks of beans and rye are tied tightly, hidden in corners. A heel of bread is eaten slowly, chewed longer, so it seems more than it is. A stew is stretched with water, thinner and thinner each week, until it is little more than warm liquid with a hint of flavor. And always, there is silence. Winter muffles the world. The snow falls, thick and heavy, blanketing the earth in stillness. Outside, the fields lie empty, the soil frozen, useless until spring. No plows cut the land, no seeds are sown, no growth can come. The days pass slowly, heavy with waiting. The nights stretch endlessly, broken only by the soft crackle of the fire, the whisper of wind against the thatch, and the occasional cough in the dark. Hunger is a constant companion. Children complain of empty bellies. Parents hush them gently, not with promises of plenty, but with what little they have. A piece of cheese cut thinner, a crust of bread softened in warm water, a spoonful of stew given to the smallest first. Parents go without so that children may eat. Hunger lingers like a shadow at the edge of every day, a reminder that spring is still far away. The cold itself is an enemy. Fingers stiffen, joints ache, breath clouds thick and heavy. Frost creeps into the cottage through cracks in the walls. Blankets are thin, wool is rough, and still the chill seeps through. Families huddle together, sharing body heat. At night they sleep close, shoulders pressed, feet tucked beneath blankets, the fire low, embers faint. They shiver, not just for a moment, but for hours, until sleep takes them at last. And yet, in the silence, there is endurance. Each day is a step closer to spring. Each meal, however thin, is a victory. Each log burned is warmth borrowed against the cold. The family endures because they must, because winter will not last forever, even if it feels endless now. The castle looms above the frozen countryside, its stone walls rising against the gray sky. A fortress both protective and merciless. Within its thick walls, life in winter carries on, though not as comfortably as one might think. From a distance, the site seems secure, a beacon of strength and plenty in a land where peasants shiver in their cottages. Yet inside the castle, winter remains an unwelcome guest, slipping through cracks in the stone, creeping into chambers, and chilling the air until breath rises in mist, even in the grandest of halls. The great hall glows with firelight, flames leaping high in the enormous hearth. Torches flicker along the walls, their smoke staining the stone with soot. Long tables are laid with bread and meat, with trenchers of stew and pitchers of spiced wine. Nobles sit wrapped in cloaks of fur, their hands extended toward the heat. Servants move constantly, carrying wood, replenishing the flames, sweeping rushes from the floor, fetching food from smoky kitchens where the smell of roasting venison lingers heavy in the air. At first glance, there is abundance. Platters are piled high. There is music, the gentle plucking of a lute, the deep hum of a viol. Yet even here where the wealthy live, comfort is limited. The stone walls breathe dampness, holding the chill of the outside world. Drafts slip under doors, sweep down long corridors, sneak through shuttered windows. In their chambers, nobles sleep beside braziers of glowing coals, wrapped in blankets of fur and wool. Some burn candles all night long, not for light, but for the faint warmth they provide. Even the most luxurious bed, with its heavy curtains drawn close, cannot entirely banish the icy breath of winter. Sickness moves silently through the halls. A cough spreads from servant to master and mistress alike. Influenza, fevers, and chills are as common in castles as they are in cottages. The difference is only in the food, the scale of the fire, the softness of the bedding. But death does not discriminate. Kings, queens, lords, and ladies fall to the same illnesses that take the lives of peasants in smoky huts. And so the castle, for all its grandeur, is still a place of endurance. Yet it is also a place of ritual, of celebration, of moments where winter is softened by tradition. In December, when the days are shortest and the nights longest, the season of Christmas brings a strange reversal. On the feast of St. Stephen, the order of the world is turned upside down. A servant may be crowned the lord of misrule, given a paper crown and the right to command his masters in jest. The great hall echoes with laughter. Nobles obey ridiculous orders. Servants laugh at their lords. Ale flows freely, mugs clink together, and bread is torn apart with eager hands. For a brief time, hunger and hierarchy are forgotten. The world becomes light-hearted, foolish, almost free. And there are the midnight masses, long candle-lit ceremonies that fill the stillness with sound. Villagers walk through the snow, their lanterns glowing softly, their breath white in the air. They kneel in cold chapels, their knees pressed against frozen stone floors, as priests chant prayers that drift upward into vaulted ceilings. The smoke of incense mingles with the chill, heavy and sweet, filling the dark space with both comfort and solemnity. Children clutch hands, women bow their heads, men cross themselves slowly, their minds on survival, their prayers for endurance. In the midst of bitter cold, the church becomes a hearth of another kind, not warming the body, but giving light to the spirit. Outside of worship, there is also play. In villages, games are invented to distract from hunger and hardship. Dice are thrown across wooden tables. Knucklebones rattle in the hands of children. Songs are sung, simple and repetitive, carrying into the night. Ale is drunk in taverns where men crowd close together, their laughter echoing off low beams, their arguments rising with the smoke. There is warmth in companionship, warmth in song, warmth in the human voice telling a story as the snow piles higher against the door. But January always comes, and with January comes sickness. The smoke-filled cottages are damp and crowded. Coughs linger in the air. A child's fever spreads from one to another. The old struggle to rise from their beds of straw. There is no doctor to call. Herbs are boiled, charms are whispered, prayers are spoken over pale faces. Garlic is hung above the door. Nettles are brewed into tea, but often these remedies fail. Death sits quietly in the corner, waiting, as much a part of winter as the snow and the wind. Families mourn in silence, their grief folded into the long cold nights. Bells toll for the dead, echoing across frozen fields. Graves are dug into hard ground, soil stiff and frozen, picks and spades striking sparks as they break the earth. Candles are lit, prayers whispered, tears hidden in the dim light. The living continue because they must, but the memory of loss lingers, heavy as frost on the soul, and yet kindness continues, even in the darkest of months. A neighbor brings wood to another's fire. A loaf of bread is divided and shared, though it means less for the giver. A noblewoman orders that grain be distributed from her stores to the poorest in the village. Some mock her, call her foolish, say she will weaken her house with such generosity. But she replies softly that wealth is no blessing if it cannot keep the people alive. And so, wagons roll through the snow, bearing sacks of rye to thin, tired hands. In such moments, winter feels a little less cruel. There are stories of a widow, her hearth gone cold, her body shivering in the darkness. One evening, she hears a knock at the door. A young man stands there, cheeks red from the wind, arms burdened with wood and peas and salted pork. He says little, only sets the bundle down and leaves, vanishing back into the snow. She weeps, not only from hunger, but from the warmth fed sparingly, each log counted, each ember cherished. Families sit close together, shoulders pressed, sharing heat not only from the hearth but from one another. Time stretches slowly. Days blur together, gray and silent. Nights drag on, dark and heavy. The body grows weary, but sleep is not always easy. The wind moans outside, a reminder of the vast cold beyond the door. Dreams are filled with food, with spring, with warmth that seems impossibly far away. Each morning begins with the same, and so winter loosens its grip. Slowly, the snow retreats. Slowly, the trees bud. Slowly, life begins again. For those who endured, there is gratitude. They have survived the long night, the hunger, the sickness, the cold. They have told their stories, sung their songs, shared their kindness. And now they look forward, toward warmth, toward growth, toward life renewed. From where we sit today, wrapped in blankets, surrounded by electric light, heating, and cupboards full of food, it is difficult to imagine the harshness of those winters. We may complain of frost on the car, of icy roads, of a late train. But for those who lived centuries before, winter was not a nuisance. It was a trial. It was hunger. It was sickness. It was survival. And yet they endured. They found laughter in festivals, light in prayer, comfort in stories, strength in kindness. They held on, even when the nights seemed endless. And perhaps that is the lesson they leave us, that no winter, however long, lasts forever, that no night, however dark, is without end. Spring always comes, warmth always returns. And so, dear listener, as you lie here now, let that truth settle gently upon you. Your own winter of wakefulness will pass. The dawn will come, as it always has, as it always will. Breathe slowly. Let your body grow heavy. Let the weight of history ease your own burdens. The story drifts toward silence now, toward stillness, toward sleep. Let your thoughts fade, your eyes close, your breath soften. Drift away, gently, calmly, into rest. The weeks of February creep forward, each day slower than the last. The fields are still white, blanketed in silence, the earth locked tight in frost. The snow lies heavy on the thatched roofs of cottages, sliding in slow sheets when the sun dares to appear for an hour. The wind moans through the trees, rattling branches like bones, sweeping over the open fields with a sound that is less a song than a whisper of endurance. Inside the cottages, families hold on. Food is nearly gone. The salted meat that hung above the hearth has been eaten. The beans are almost gone from their sacks. Bread has become thinner, baked with husks or stretched with ground acorns to make it last. What remains is shared carefully, slowly, sparingly. Parents go without, pressing food into the hands of children, hoping to see them survive. The nights are longest now. Hours stretch endlessly in darkness. The fire burns low, fed sparingly, each log a treasure. Embers glow faintly, shadows creep up the walls. Families huddle close, shoulders pressed, eyes half closed, speaking little. Words are not wasted. Breath itself is precious. Silence fills the hours, broken only by the soft cough of a child, the restless shifting of straw, the quiet prayer whispered into the night. Some do not last. In these final weeks, winter takes the weakest. Bells toll in the distance, their sound heavy, echoing across the frozen fields. Graves are dug into stiff earth, the ground reluctant to open, spades striking hard, each blow a struggle. Candles flicker in chapels, smoke rising to rafters blackened with age, while families kneel in silence, mourning softly. Death is not unexpected. It comes every year, and yet each loss feels sharp, personal, unforgettable. Still, life presses on. The living endure because they must. The animals must be fed, water must be drawn, fires must be tended. Every act, no matter how small, is a refusal to surrender. And so, slowly, step by step, day by day, they continue. And then, change begins. At first it is almost invisible. The sun lingers a little longer in the sky. The light, though still pale, glows warmer. The air carries a faint softness. Not much, only a hint, but enough to stir the heart. Icicles that clung stubbornly to rooftops begin to drip, water falling in slow, steady rhythm. The sound is like music, a song of promise. The snow still lies heavy, but its edges shrink. Paths appear, muddy and slick, where the white has melted away. Birds return, faint at first. A single chirp in the morning, answered by another. Soon, the air carries their songs once more, soft and hopeful, a reminder that the world has not ended, only slept. The soil, when struck with a spade, begins to break, no longer stone-hard but pliant, damp, willing to yield again. The people notice. They smile, weary but grateful, at the smallest changes. A drop of water falling from a branch, the green tip of a plant pushing through the soil, the lengthening of day, the fading of the endless night. Plow. Monday comes, and with it, ritual. Villagers gather in the fields. Oxen are led forward, decorated with garlands of greenery. Priests bless the plows, sprinkling water, muttering prayers. Men cheer as the first furrows are cut into the thawing ground, the soil dark and rich beneath the melting snow. The sound of the plow slicing into earth is deep, resonant, satisfying, a sound of beginning, of renewal, of hope. Women watch with relief, children laugh, farmers exchange tired but genuine smiles. The season of endurance has ended, the season of work has begun. Though hunger still lingers, though stores are not yet replenished, the fear has lifted. The hardest months are past. The world is opening again. Life is stirring beneath the soil. Life is returning to the fields. Life is promised in every shoot of green that dares to rise. And so spring arrives, slowly but steadily, carrying with it the blessing of survival. For those who endured, There is gratitude beyond words. They remember the long nights, the bitter winds, the hunger, the sickness. They remember the quiet kindnesses, the shared food, the warmth of neighbors, the laughter that flickered even in darkness. They remember loss, too, for no winter passes without it. But above all, they remember that they endured, that they lived to see the thaw, to see the sun rise higher, to hear the birds sing once more. Looking back now from our own warm homes, it is almost impossible to imagine the depth of those winters. We have light at the flick of a switch, heat that fills our rooms at the turn of a dial, food stacked in cupboards, available at any time, in any season. We complain at the bite of cold air on the way to work, at the frost that must be scraped from a car window, at a train delayed by ice. But for those who lived centuries before us, winter was not a nuisance. It was hunger, sickness, and silence. It was endless nights, endless waiting, endless prayer. And yet, they found a way. They laughed when they could. They told stories, sang songs, played games, prayed, hoped. They shared what they had, gave kindness even when kindness was costly. They endured because there was no other choice. And when spring returned, as it always does, they began again, planting, plowing, sowing, building toward another year. Perhaps that is their gift to us, across the centuries. The reminder that no winter lasts forever, that however dark the night, the dawn will always return, that however bitter the cold, warmth will come again. The cycle of seasons, the turning of the year, carries us all forward. And in that turning, there is always hope. And so, dear listener, as you rest now, let that truth settle softly within you. Whatever winter you feel in your own life, whether of the body or of the mind, it will not last forever. The spring is waiting, even if you cannot yet see it. The dawn is approaching, even if the night still feels long. Let your breath grow slower. Let your body grow heavier. Let your eyes close gently. The story has reached its end, but your rest has only just begun. Thank you for joining me tonight, here on Soporific. If this gentle journey through history has brought you peace, I softly invite you to return again when you need another story to ease you into rest. But for now, there is nothing more to do, nothing more to hear, nothing more to hold. Only the quiet, only the warmth, only the deep, calm drift of sleep.